You guys, I don't know what's happening out there, and I know things look serious, but... Are you eating a sandwich?
No.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it!
It's not gonna work.
That's not gonna work.
A few moments later.
That didn't work.
Oh.
Okay. Who would have thought? Their guns don't work on actual zombies. Oh.
Does it hurt?
Yes, it hurts.
Don't worry, you'll be okay.
I don't feel okay. Guys, I can't die yet. There's so many things I haven't done. I've never been in love or skydiving. I've never figured out what the 23rd flavor of Dr. Pepper is.
If only there were some kind of force or organization that could study the spread of disease. Jeff, what? There are zombies outside.
What? Zombies? Oh my god!
I'm gonna go warn everyone at 206.
No, Adam, don't bother.
Why not?
Chemical engineers.
Yeah?
No brains?
Disease is all around us. Odds are, since you just came into the room you're in, you've done something that has exposed you to a potentially dangerous disease. Whether it's someone that failed to cover a cough or stifle a sneeze, someone that shook your hand that may not have washed their hands after going to the bathroom, or even if someone just bumped into you in the middle of the hallway. All of these things could have potentially exposed you to a disease which could be dangerous and even deadly. However, you're lucky. Your body has an advanced immune system that helps to combat most of these deadly diseases. And even if you do end up getting infected with it, it's not like the entire world comes to an end. If a college freshman gets a cold, they don't cancel all the classes on campus. You stay home, eat some soup, and sure enough, in 3 days, 4 days, you'll be fine. However, not all diseases function this way.
At some points in our history, we have come to know diseases that do not follow this nominal, fairly unfrightening pattern. Some diseases spread so rapidly from person to person and have such devastating effects on the society affected by the disease, both those infected and those not, that they are deserving of special note, and indeed a special designation. We call these disease outbreaks epidemics. From the Greek for upon people, an epidemic classifies any time when the number of occurrences of a given disease in a certain population exceeds the typical expectation for that disease. The Black Death of 14th century Europe, outbreaks of measles, yellow fever, smallpox in colonial America, and the widespread AIDS infections today can all be classified as epidemics. And the study of these diseases and other epidemics like them is vital in both understanding the effect they have on the course of human history and in enabling us to mitigate these effects when they are profoundly negative.
One of the major areas of study of epidemiology centers around the study of disease transmission. This focus of study centers on how diseases spread. As previously mentioned, all diseases have different methods of transmission from one host to another. Some diseases are airborne, able to pass from one sick individual to another via a cough or sneeze. Others might require physical contact, as simple as a handshake, or more direct, as is the case with sexually transmitted diseases. Others still might be spread by another organism entirely, as is often the case with tick bites or the bite of an animal, often referred to as disease vectors. This is an especially popular topic in modern culture today, and has taken the form of the typical zombie story. An unsuspecting, hapless individual is infected with a disease that at first seems harmless, but soon reveals its more sinister nature. Let's take a look at an example. This is Ted. Ted just finished an important business meeting in a foreign country and is ready to go home. Little does he know, stepping onto that plane could prove to be a dangerous action. The man seated next to Ted suddenly sneezes on him. Ted brushes it off as no big deal. Poor choice, Ted. Getting into his car at the airport, Ted feels dizzy and feverish, but decides to drive home anyways. It's not that far. Watch out, Ted! With his driving impaired, he barely sees a car from the other lane come in to cut him off. Angry, Ted mounts the curb to pass and goes off the road. Finally getting home, Ted looks forward to a glass of wine, and for some reason, brains. Uh-oh, Ted. Your wife Sally just poured the last of the wine, and unsurprisingly, you're fresh out of brains. Better head to the local convenience store. Ted's driving is even more erratic now, and he keeps muttering something about brains under his breath. Watch out for that car, Ted! Without warning, Ted snaps. His lust for brains overcomes him, and Sally looks so tasty and full of those sweet, sweet brains. Sorry, Ted. Looks like you didn't survive the zombie apocalypse.
Believe it or not, countries around the world, including the US, have a contingency plan for a case such as this, or any similar outbreak of rampant zombieism. Originally considered a joke, it was found that many people actually took rather well to the notion that the government was prepared to deal with the perhaps unlikely circumstances that might arise from a horrid zombie-based epidemic. And indeed, the Center for Disease Control perpetuates their plan and related lessons in preparedness not only to defend against the 1 in a billion chance of an outbreak of zombieism, but because it makes for a very successful platform for teaching the general populace about disaster preparedness and how to deal with any more likely epidemic or natural disaster. To truly understand epidemiology and the role it plays in society today, we must also understand what roles it has played throughout our history. First described by Hippocrates of ancient Greece, an epidemic was a distinct form of disease that came upon a population, as opposed to an endemic, which resided within a given population. Indeed, we can look to Hippocrates as the source for nearly all disease and health-related research over the course of civilized history in humans, and he is the first known person in history to investigate how disease and a person's environment might be related. Unfortunately, though he may have started the chain of events that would one day lead to modern medicine, he himself was not a particularly successful practitioner. Records show that Hippocrates believed that illness was due to an imbalance of elements or humors within the body, and he thus popularized both bloodletting and strict dieting as methods for disease cures, in an effort to restore these inner balances. As history progressed, there was some increase in the variance of disease cure and containment methods, although perhaps not necessarily an increase in true understanding of where diseases came from or how to successfully combat them. Many contemporaries and direct successors of Hippocrates perpetuated the belief that disease was born of the sin of man and existed as punishment. Many of their cures and remedies were as weird as they were ineffective. Perhaps most deserving of note in this realm is one Pliny the Elder, an ancient Roman author and philosopher who penned the ancient encyclopedia Naturalis Historia. In addition to chronicling the existence of many non-existent creatures, and espousing the wonders of pouring goat's blood on diamond to dissolve it, Natural History includes a section dedicated to a myriad of remedies for various ailments of the time. Highlights include using ground bull's gall as a toothpaste, goat's brain that has been passed through a gold ring as a cure for epilepsy in babies, and a liberal application of mouse feces to the bare scalp as a cure for baldness. Thankfully, as history progressed further, so too did our understanding of disease. In the 16th century, germ theory was proposed by Girolamo Fracastoro, and later confirmed via visual evidence thanks to the powerful microscopes of Antoine van Leeuwenhoek. Natural and Political Observations upon the Bills of Mortality was published in 1662 by one John Grant, and is the first of its kind as a statistical look at diseases and how they affect a population. And in the 19th century, while battling cholera epidemics in London, the work of one Dr. John Snow would later have him labeled as the father of modern epidemiology. Snow recognized a water pump in London as the source for the outbreak, and through the use of a chlorine cleaning, managed to successfully end it. In today's world, epidemiology is such a broad science that it no longer necessarily even focuses on illnesses caused by disease. Indeed, high blood pressure, obesity, and drug addiction are all subject to epidemiological research, in addition to more traditional research into diseases, vaccines, and outbreak control. However, it is important to remember that, without those that can implement the lessons learned from epidemiology and make use of the science, epidemiology would be useless.
Do you have any threes?
Brains.
No. threes.
Brains.
Do you have any threes?
Yeah.
Have you seen the TV remote? Oh, come on, spit that out. Come on, man, really? I love you, man. We're gonna be okay. It's gonna be fun.
Dr. Pepper.
Epidemiology, at its core, is a science of practice. In order for it to be successful, it must be used in real-world scenarios and acquire meaningful data. This data can then be interpreted into valuable results that can inform many actions moving forward, from public policy to healthcare to innovation of novel disease control methods. These solutions can help us understand the nature of disease, or can prevent disease from spreading. They can mitigate disease once it has spread and help with the results and aftermath. They can use data from the spread to help inform actions to be taken in any future scenarios. To start, we must understand how a disease spreads and monitor threat levels in real time. Computer engineers create and use specialized software to help track diseases and determine spread rates. This can not only help to expand knowledge of disease transmission and spread, but it can also increase the population's awareness of new threats. Examples of software that can perform such tasks includes ClusterSeer, SAT-Scan, and geosurveillance. Obviously, however, engineers must be careful, as misinterpretation of information may ignite panic and media frenzy when there's little cause for concern. This panic can muddy the lines of communication when a real threat occurs.
What are the new models saying?
It's bad, boss.
How bad?
There's an 80% chance of zombie dogs.
Zombie dogs? Sounds like those dogs are getting a little too good at... playing dead.
Assuming that computer engineers can take a break from practicing their witty quips long enough that they can pass their information along, the problem of preventing disease spread becomes a veritable engineer's playground. You might have a chemical engineer that designs a special wall or floor coating to prevent bacteria from sticking. You might have an electrical or mechanical engineer that designs a special system to scrub the air of pathogens, filled with membranes designed by bioengineers like me. That way, civil engineers can take those technologies and implement them in public places like airports, train stations, or even this academic building here, Jeunesse Hall. That way, you never have to worry about a handshake, a high five, or a kiss again. Oh. Supposing we're dealing with diseases that haven't successfully been prevented or contained, such as the aforementioned AIDS epidemic, the science of epidemiology takes on a new form, and, in turn, engineers involved in epidemiology must take up different problems and tasks, no longer centered around preventing the disease, but instead focused on mitigating the effects of the disease and preventing its further spread. Primary roles for engineers in this scenario include developing and synthesizing medications to treat the disease and its symptoms. Chemical, bio, and biomedical engineers help to develop novel drugs that help fight the disease in those already infected and keep the disease from further affecting the population. In supportive roles, mechanical, electrical, and civil engineers take on problems like developing novel methods of drug distribution or administration. Anything from a new type of aerialized vaccine that can be delivered orally to a new, easy-to-set-up and take-down hospital that can be used as a mobile care station in underdeveloped countries. All these things and more fall under the umbrella topic of engineers working in epidemiology. Looking into the future, we can anticipate a cycle that epidemiology has already elucidated in our history. Inevitably, events involving disease epidemics today will help better inform scientists and engineers working into the future. They will learn from the patterns that develop from modern-day epidemics, and from the technologies we implement to fight them. This knowledge will help them in the fight to prevent the next epidemic, be it as benign as a common flu outbreak, or as sinister as a society-ending zombie apocalypse. In fact,
As horrifying a thought as it may be, looking to the future, the threat of epidemics may not simply be rooted in nature. Although the prevention of natural disease is the primary focus of the public, there are certain entities that exist that are interested in causing disease spread. The use of viruses or bacteria to purposefully harm others is known as biological warfare, and there are a wide range of uses for these weapons, such as destroying crops and livestock, disabling people, and of course, causing death. Although current research into biological weapons is very well protected and hard to come by, we can look into the past to see examples of bioweapons production. In the 1980s and 90s, the Soviet Union used Biopreparat, a huge military program with a civilian cover, to develop and weaponize biological agents. This agency worked with some of the most contagious and lethal microorganisms known to man. Common, easily treatable strains of bacteria were genetically engineered to resist vaccines and antibiotics and were kept in stock at all times. Others were modified to allow for easy infection as either water or airborne pathogens. Some strains of microorganisms were even engineered to be hardy enough to allow for integration into intercontinental ballistic missiles and bombs. And thus, it's plain to see, epidemiology plays a pivotal role in society today, just as it has for the full course of human history. Disease will likely always be prevalent, and with disease comes a need to control and understand disease, to minimize the impact on the public. So too comes the need for scientists and engineers of all types to take up arms against the threat of these diseases, be they well-known, unknown, or even synthetic in nature. It is only thanks to the power of epidemiology and the work of these engineers that we can keep the world from ending up like this.
We can't live like this, man.
It's getting too hard.
Sorry, buddy.
We did what we could. Nerf guns don't work against zombies.
We need a better plan.
Where you going?
Here, take care of Jeff.
Right.
Buckle your pants, buckle your pants. Pull up your socks and dance. Buckle your pants. Buckle your pants. Buckle your pants, buckle your pants. Hey, I said dance. Buckle your pants. Buckle your pants. Ladies, buckle your pants. Gentlemen, buckle your pants. Boys and girls of all ages, buckle your pants, or they might fall down. Hey, you, buckle your pants. Yes, you, buckle your pants. Everybody, buckle your pants. But if you don't want to, no, that's fine.
Buckle your pants, buckle your pants, buckle your pants, or your pants will fall to the ground. Buckle your pants, just buckle them, babies, nice and tight, please. Buckle your pants, buckle your pants, buckle